Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. If you remember the battle I have shown in the Stalingrad not too long ago, there were a couple of comments saying, kind of asking why did you do the things you did in the Stalingrad? And I've been replying to a couple of them, but I figured actually this might be a really interesting tactical breakdown of my thought process during this video. So I want to go into this battle again, with an open mind, saying, hey, should I have played this differently? What was my thinking at the time? Why did I do these things? And what would have happened had I played differently? So before we start, let's look at the team composition. That's always the first thing I do. So enemy team, we're top tier. There's a carrier in play. And there is a Republic and Buffalo. Now, the next thing I look at usually is the league composition, especially when you're halfway through the month and you can actually distinguish upon the leagues who has been an active player and or a good player. So if you see somebody in mid-league, then that means that either they haven't been playing for a while or that they tend to have a more balanced win-loss ratio in terms of trophies. So somebody in a higher league I would consider usually more dangerous than somebody in a lower league. That doesn't always hold, and it doesn't mean that they're better players. It just might mean that they are either more experienced, especially when you're up in tier 10. They're just used to, I would consider them more dangerous. So who do we have? We have the Taiho, who's a mid-tier carrier player, bottom-tier carrier. But we do have three League 9 players here. We've got the Republic, we've got the Buffalo, and we've got Z46 and the destroyers. The other two destroyers are also mid-league, and the Ibuki is a bot. So on our side, we've got an Essex and a Yama, who are, well, Legend League players, and a Shima as well, plus two Yugomos who are pretty much entry, and the Baltimore bot. So what is my priority target? Obviously my priority target being that I'm in the Stalingrad, which is a battle cruiser. My priority target is the Buffalo, because the Buffalo is the biggest danger for our destroyers. Well, on account of her having 12 200mm main guns, if that thing can make mincemeat of our destroyers. Plus the carrier is obviously dangerous for carrier drops, and because it keeps the destroyers spotted. So I have a relatively decent AA. I'm a big target, and I'm obviously having painted a little bit of a target on my back by using the community contributor logo, and actually is playing on the press account and playing in a ship that was very new at the time. So what I want is, well, what I want to do we'll find out as soon as we spawn. So we're playing Deadlock and we're playing a domination, so 3-cut map. So as soon as I see where I spawn, I can then decide where I want to go. Now I know that there are I don't know where the enemy team is. But I can either go center cap and support our carrier and kind of hold from there and hope that the rest of the team can deal with C cap and the two destroyers could deal with A. But let's see. The first indication we're going to get is where the enemy carrier is going to play. So the very next thing I look around. So I've got one of the Yugomos on with me, and I've got the Shima. Now the Shima I have slated as a competent player. And both Shima and Yugomo are heading towards A cap, and our carrier is scouting towards A cap. So I assume I make this decision at this spot. I know that the destroyers are going to get scouted. I know that I'm going to get a scout of what the enemy team will have there, and I know that I have two destroyers with me. So at this point, let's wait for the last ship to come in. But I know that it's a cruiser. Okay, so at this point, I know what's happening. So we're heading towards A cap. The rest of our team heads towards C cap. That means obviously that the carrier is somewhat exposed in the center, but I know that Buffalo, Republic, and Z46 are in A cap. these were the 3 players I had slated as dangerous on the entry screen. Plus, the Buffalo is a hard counter against the 2 destroyers I have with here. Plus, the Z46 has a Hydro. So, and the carrier is busy here as well. At least we see his fighter planes. Now, the carrier has only launched fighters so far. So that kind of confirms a little bit that the carrier may be somewhat inexperienced, because they haven't managed to launch the torpedo bombers or dive bombers quite yet. So what can I do at this point? Now, this is the crucial point for me, because, well, first of all, I need to play at range because I'm in a Stalingrad. I also know that my armor is not great and that the Republic has very nasty guns. So even the Buffalo with armor piercing can probably do a huge amount of damage to me. I don't want to fight all of these people at the same time. I want to fight the Buffalo though. So either I'm going A and support the 2 destroyers, or I'm disengaging, going B and try to draw fire away. Now, again, my decision here at the point was to say I need to support the destroyers, because the Buffalo, if he knows what he's doing, and by all intents and purposes they probably do, is going to be extremely dangerous against the destroyers. So I decide to stay course, because if the Republic is in range for me, I'm in range for the Republic. I do not want to give broadside right now and hide behind the islands. I want to loop inside the islands, because I want to pose a threat. I want to scare the Buffalo away if I can. So let's see. I can't lock the Buffalo because I don't have manual lock on. So I'm just going to fire the first salvo at Republic, which makes me visible. So now they know that I'm here, and something else has happened. So we know where the rest of the enemy team is pretty much. We know that 1 destroyer is here, and because B hasn't been capped yet, we can be pretty sure that the other 2 destroyers are over in C-Cap. We have a bot cruiser going that way, and we have got one of our destroyers, which I think was the other Yugomo, and we've got our Yamato. The Yamato was a qualified player. They don't have carrier support, but if I was, we know that the Taiho is heading over here as well. So we have 4 out of 7 enemy players in A-Cap. Now, if I'm going to abandon, and I can still do that, if I'm going to abandon A-Cap, we are going to lose Shima and Yugomo. And I will probably lose a sizable amount of health until I can get back into hiding over in B-Cap. So I decide, no, I don't want to lose especially Shima. And have the enemy have a foothold over in A-Cap, and probably lose a lot of my health trying to link up with the rest of my team over in B-Cap. So I decide instead I am going to I'm going to get the island between myself and Republic, because Republic is the one that can hurt me the worst. There comes some Buffalo shots at the destroyers, which again confirms what I've seen or what I've said. There come the Republic shots. Yeah, that hurts, but it could have been worse. And again, Shima is the one I need to keep safe here. So let's see what the carrier is doing. Now look at this. Look at the torpedo bombers. Okay, I've got Republic behind myself. Let's pause here. I've got Republic behind. I've got the island between myself and Republic, which means that unless I'm fast enough that he cannot easily target me, so I'm relatively safe from the Republic's main guns. If I was over in B, I mean, look at the range. The Republic. If I was over in B-Cap, the Republic would have broadside shots at me, or well, however I'm positioning. But the Republic's guns can cover B-Cap easily. Our Yamato has killed the enemy bot cruiser, and the carrier seems to be focusing on me. So this is ideal. The destroyers are spotted, but they are relatively safe from the Buffalo. Now it is imperative that the Buffalo doesn't come around the corner, because if the Buffalo comes around the corner, the destroyers have nowhere to hide, because they can't go stealth because the carrier keeps spotting them. And I don't want the carrier to focus on the destroyers, but the carrier is dropping me. So I want that Buffalo pushed away while keeping Republic behind the island such that he can't shoot me, and keeping the carrier away from the destroyers, because the destroyers should be able to deal with Republic and potentially the carrier but the carrier can easily sink the destroyers and keep them spotted for Buffalo. So Buffalo needs to die. Okay, so I've got shots, got broadside Buffalo, I've got shots out at the Buffalo. I'm going to take some torpedo hits here from the carrier. There's no way I can avoid these, but I'm just going to heal some health back up. And now I'm opening up the range, because look at what Buffalo's doing. So Buffalo's shooting at me. Okay, so what is happening? Buffalo's shooting at me instead of the destroyers. Buffalo is also turning away, so the Buffalo is not pushing in. Even though I am opening up the distance, so is the Buffalo, because the Buffalo does not want to fight me one-on-one at mid-range. And he's still firing armor piercing at me, which makes sense given how light my armor is, but he is disengaging. So Buffalo is moving away, which means I can open up the range somewhat, and Shima is still holding the island position. Now, I don't know where the Z is. Okay, Z is over there, and I keep the Buffalo away. I just keep pushing. I can't do anything against the Z anyway. So the carrier is now focusing Shima. So I do need to get closer in and see if I can get air cover. We've got Republic behind the island, but Buffalo is my primary target, because Buffalo again is now shooting at the destroyer. So Buffalo is shooting at Yugumo. Yugumo smokes up, and I've got Buffalo in range. So it's time again to fire at Buffalo. I can't help with the Z, so hopefully Shima can deal with Z. But I can keep the Buffalo away, and Yugumo can deal with Republic. There comes the next carrier wave though, so I need to make sure that I remain spotted, and the carrier doesn't get any stupid ideas with torpedo dropping our destroyers. And look, the carrier is focusing on me. I'm on relatively low health, so at this point I'm actually having to actively dodge his torpedoes if I can. And the carrier completely potatoes that drop. So I'm going to be able to dodge these torps, probably not the next one. I'm accelerating up again, seeing if I can accelerate out of this. Not going to use my my second defensive AA, but now Republic is shooting at me, and I've lost sight of the Buffalo, but the Buffalo is too far away to... let's pause again. I'm on, what, 7,000 health, but we have held A Cup. The rest of our team is still battling it out at C Cup. So they haven't managed to deal, even though we've tied down 4 out of 7 ships on A Cup with only 3 of us. They haven't really been able to capitalize on that quite yet over on C Cup. So if I hadn't supported, yes, we would be holding B Cup, but the 2 destroyers would almost certainly be dead. And we've pushed the carrier away, because the carrier has now moved back out of the aggressive position. The carrier could have hidden behind the island in A Cup if I had let them, and could have dropped me non-stop. Plus, I would have been again in an open firing arc for the Republic. So I'm a little far out from things, but I'm on relatively low health. So the carrier seems to be focusing me at this point. The Buffalo has retreated sufficiently that that Shima can take B Cup, and Shima is doing exactly that, and is probably going stealth because the carrier no longer spots. Yugumo is retreating because he's on low health and he doesn't want to be carrier dropped. So that the carrier instead is focusing it solely on me. Republic is shooting, I'm not sure at what, and Buffalo probably, oh yeah, Buffalo and Republic are shooting at Yugumo. Okay, so they've got Yugumo. Shima is still alive, and Shima is threatening the carrier and the Republic. So again, Buffalo is what I want. Now at this point, Buffalo's in half health, and I managed to get 1 more shot off. I really wish the Shima would have waited at this point, because I need to get around the island, and I'm on low enough health that I had to wait a little bit to make sure that these torpedo bombs weren't going for me. So Shima is taking a lot of fire now from Buffalo and from probably from Republic and from the carrier. So Shima's probably dead now, but Shima has managed to cap B and has still got torpedoes out. So I can deal with these 2, especially if Shima torpedoes the Republic, which he does. And I've got 8,000 health, which should be just enough. I've got a heal coming off cooldown. Plus, we're holding all 3 cups at this point, so I can deal with Buffalo. Yes. this is why I've done this. And as you all know, now I'm getting killed by the carrier, and that's okay. Because the carrier has been focusing exclusively on me throughout the whole battle. And that way, the Shima and the Yugumo have survived a lot longer than they would have otherwise. So we've been able to hold on to A Cup because of that. Had I sacrificed, could it have worked if I had sacrificed the 2 destroyers, captured B, and head over to C? Well, the 2 destroyers wouldn't have lived long. And I'm not sure I could have... Look how long it took my team to secure C Cup. Of course, I could have helped, but we would have been shot by... I would have been in a constant retreat from Buffalo, from Republik, and from the carrier attack. I don't think I could have sustained that. So I'm standing by my decision here that... of course, it's the what-ifs are always the big question, right? What would have happened? Of course, you can't really tell. But I still stand by the decision to say, no, I want to try and help the destroyers around A Cup and tie down the enemy team if possible, especially the carrier and the Buffalo, and see if I can keep my destroyers alive long enough that it can make a difference. And it did. So that's, you know, that was my thought process going through this whole thing. And that's how I approach these sort of battles. I pick ships that are my targets. I pick ships that I'm supporting, or where we can have mutual support. And if things turn out this way, then even if I don't come out on top of the team, I still feel that you know, I've done a good thing, right? We have how do I put this? It's a team effort, right? It doesn't matter if you're coming out first in the team. Of course, it's nice to see the big damage numbers, but if you're thinking about it this way, and for me, this is more the satisfaction of saying, I love it when a plan comes together, rather than saying I single-handedly the entire enemy team. So I think that was I still think that was the right decision to make, and now you know my direction of thinking. Of course, there are always multiple ways this could have gone, and there are multiple opinions on everything, but that's what makes it interesting. That's it for today. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.